Welcome to the Hopcast. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, and I'm on board Milwaukee streetcar, the Hop. It's all about connections, it's all about community, and it's all about moving Milwaukee forward. All right, welcome to the Hopcast. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman. We're on the route of the Milwaukee streetcar, not on board the streetcar yet because we have a very special guest, a resident who lives on the streetcar route, Mark Kass, Editor-in-Chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal. Welcome, Mark.
Well, it's great to be here. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the Hop, and I'm a huge fan of the Hopcast.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking time today. Sure. So Mark is Editor-in-Chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal. He has been there almost 20 years. You're a UWM grad, yep. A Milwaukee guy, truly in the fabric of the community and media, involved in a ton of things. Not only the 40 Under 40, which is an institution in this community.
Thank you.
So much the Business Journal does to move Milwaukee forward. So I'm really happy that you took time to be with us today.
Yeah, no, it's always fun to be here. Always fun to talk about Milwaukee.
Great.
I love talking about Milwaukee.
All right, very good. So my first question is always just, give us your story. Give us the Mark Kass story. If you can drill that down in 2 or 3 minutes.
I write about other people.
That's right,
usually.
right.
Well, the short version is I've been in media for my entire career. As you said, I graduated here locally from the UWM. Okay. Worked out in Waukesha. I worked at the Freeman for a couple years, but actually started at the Journal Sentinel. But it was the Sentinel in those days. Okay. So I started as an intern and worked there, and I was a sports reporter. Did a lot of sports stuff for both them and AP. Okay. Did a lot of high school sports, as we all did at those days. Went out to Waukesha for a couple of years, and then I I got a call one day for an interview at the Business Journal. It was 1989. Actually started there in '89. Worked there for 8 years. I was a reporter. I covered real estate. I covered sports. I covered all kinds of stuff. Kind of moved my way up. I was managing editor, and then I left in '97. Went to MMSD. Spent 6 years there as a lobbyist and did public relations. It was great. It was fun, but I decided in '02 that it was just, I just wanted something different. So I spent a year on my own, just kind of being a writer, doing all kinds of fun stuff. And then in October of '03, I got a call to ask if I'd come back to the paper. Okay. And, so I came back in October of '03, and I've been editor ever since. So it'll be 20 years in October.
All right. Wow.
So it's a great place to work, great community. What I love about our newspaper, and kind of what I've always loved about our paper, is that, we write the hard stories, we'll write the negative stories, but we also have an emphasis on things in the community that are good, and individuals in the community who are good, and we like to hold up examples of that. So, the thing I love about our paper is that no matter where I go, people love our paper, and people have always respected our paper and really want to be in it. They want to be kind of part of it. And I think it's that. I think it's because we're both, here's the news that's happening, but here's also individuals who are, and firms are doing great things in our city.
Very much. Yeah, the Business Journal is very much in and of the community each and every day. And the reporters are involved in things that they cover too.
Exactly.
So it creates a really good spirit. So kudos to you and your team for sure.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here in your lobby.
We are.
And talk a little bit, you and your wife live downtown. Talk a little bit about choosing the downtown neighborhood as, your home and kind of how downtown Milwaukee has evolved through the years. I think a lot of people don't realize, there are 34,000 people that live downtown Milwaukee, which is more than Shorewood and Whitefish Bay put together.
Yeah, which is fascinating because I never really thought about that. I lived in Franklin for 20 years. Yeah. Loved it in Franklin, a great community. That's where our family grew up. It was just wonderful. But we thought it was at the point in our lives, and it's been a little over 4 years now, where we decided we just wanted something new, something kind of different. Our daughter was older. She was out of college. It was just time for something new. So we always thought about kind of living right in the heart of the city, to be able to walk to places, to be able just to kind of have that heartbeat of the city all the time. And, we looked in the third ward. I love the third ward. Huge fan of the third ward. It just didn't work out there. We made a couple of offers, and it didn't work. And we ended up here it was a fluke. Found it in a listing, ended up here. And we love it on this side of town. Never thought about the northern half of downtown. Didn't really think about it, but we love it over here because of the access we have to the lakefront. I can walk to the lakefront in like 6 minutes. Yeah. I can walk to the east side. I can walk downtown. I can walk from everything here as compared to the Third Ward, again, great community, but not as centrally located.
Yeah.
So that's why we really ended up here, and we love it here. You know, we talk about, you know, I mean, I use a great example of I used to drive 12 miles each way to work, so 24 miles kind of round trip.
Yeah.
Now I either walk or I ride the hop. Takes me 8 minutes. There are weeks where I don't drive my car.
Yeah.
You know, and it is, I mean, I went from having a full tank or having to fill up my tank every week to now normally once a month.
Okay.
And it's just a matter of, it's so much more convenient. And, you know, I mean, adding the hop, because when we actually got here, the hop was under construction.
Okay.
So we knew it was coming, but it hadn't started yet. So that was kind of a nice add-on. I mean, it's not why we moved downtown, but it's been a terrific add-on for us.
Yeah. Well, literally, you can walk out your lobby.
Yes.
You can walk to Brady Street.
Correct.
You can walk to a grocery store, and you can walk to a streetcar
Well, that's it.
station.
I mean, I have a grocery store, you know, I don't know, it's like 100 steps that way, or I have a grocery store like 600 steps that way. And I have a Qdoba, I have a Starbucks, I have a Panera. It's all within, you know, and I don't shovel snow.
Yeah.
I don't cut grass. And, you know, I think people who, you know, and everyone always asks me, I mean, is it safe? Is it safe? Yeah. You know, I mean, I walk every morning. I walk 3 miles every morning with our dog. Okay. And I can tell you I feel safe no matter where I go in downtown. I mean, it can happen anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Right,
and there are things that have happened. But I think if you're smart and you just explored the downtown, it's very safe. I've never had an issue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we walk out your door and walk to the hop station, talk a little bit about public transit and development in the hop and kind of how it's helped grow downtown Milwaukee.
I mean, everybody asks me about the hop, people who live outside the community, who live in the Heartland, live in Brookfield. And I say to them all the time, it has been a great addition. Why? Because you need alternatives. You can't just have cars. You need to have ways to kind of hop around. And, you know, I still run into people on the hop. And this happened a couple weeks ago where I was on the hop one morning and somebody was in town from Hartford with their kids and they were just riding the hop around. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of an attraction.
Right.
But to me, you need an alternative to cars and to walking to just provide access, provide easy access. I mean, for us to get to the Third Ward is so easy.
Yeah.
You know, and not have to think about the parking down there, which can be challenging at times, which is a good thing for the Third Ward. But to me, the hop is another alternative, and as it expands, which I'm a big advocate of the expansion of the hop, it'll just make it easier. Yeah. I mean, I want a stop outside the Forum because I go to games all the time, as I know you do, and it'd be so much easier for me to get home. I mean, I don't mind walking, but you know, to me, that would just help.
All right. We'll work on that. Okay. Well,
we'll work on that. I'm going to put you on that.
All right. Very good. That one. Done. All right. Well, let's get to the station, jump on the streetcar, and get you to work.
All right.
All right. Streetcar.
How about that?
Hello again.
How's that happen?
All right. We'll get you to the office on time for sure.
Geez, I got a meeting. I got to get there.
All right. But again, appreciate your time, Mark.
Of course.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the Business Journal and the community. This week, you're unveiling your 40 Under 40.
Yep.
Every year, 40 young leaders are awarded,
honored,
kind
of recognized. I call it because I mean, not all of them are known.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as an alumni of that class, many years ago, I was
obviously
a 40
one of our
under 40.
most esteemed alumni.
That's right. Yes. But it's just such an important part of the community, not only to give presence to young leaders, but to show that, hey, the recruitment and retention efforts are really strong in this community. So just talk a little bit about 40 Under 40 and what that process is and what it means to the Business Journal.
It is huge. It's probably our number one thing that we do all year in terms of awards programs. Something that's been going on 25 years or more. Okay. We got right now for this year we had over 300 nominations. Just that many young individuals really in our community, and to pick and really to highlight them. I mean, I talk about all the time. We talk again about negative stories, but here's a chance where you really don't know. I mean, a lot of these individuals are doing great things in the community, and for us, I feel it's our job to highlight what they're doing because they are our future leaders. I mean, if you look back at the alumni of this program, and we actually have a Hall of Fame, which we've done over the past 2 years. You're coming up, don't worry.
All right.
You're a little nervous here.
I was like, come on.
You're not old enough yet. That's it. But I mean, and if you look back, there's CEOs around town. They're, I mean, they're just really have done great things. Yeah. We try to hold up examples of individuals who are going to be our future leaders, so that we see that. Because I mean, it's so important for Milwaukee to have these young professionals. We have a tremendous older class right now. I mean, I often talk about some of our, probably about 6 years ago, I did an 8 over 80. So it was like Herb Cole and Steve Marcus, individuals who have done tremendous stuff. But unfortunately, for them, they're not going to last forever. So who's that next class? Who's the next Andy Nunemaker? Who's the next individual who's going to have a tremendous impact in our city? You look at our 40 under 40s, and I think they're going to. I mean, it's just, I mean, for me, and you know what's also neat about the program, Jeff, for us is that's kind of how it's grown throughout the whole community. Yeah. It's not just about people who live and work right downtown. Yeah. It's people that live throughout the region, who small firms, large firms, black, white, Hispanic, everybody was involved.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly Metro Milwaukee, and the diversity, doctors, people that own 4 or 5 restaurants that you may not know their names because they don't work each and every day.
Yeah, like the guy you know. Yeah. Bobby. I mean, Bobby, somebody I knew of, have seen him grow and he's doing tremendous things, but kind of under the radar. Not a guy that's out there all the time.
Right. Yeah, very good. Well, talk a little bit more about just media in Milwaukee then. Okay. Like the Business Journal's niche. What's the collaboration and what have you seen kind of evolve from each one of the outlets through the years?
It's interesting to watch the media in Milwaukee. Obviously, our paper's doing strong. We're actually growing in circulation. We've grown over 3% over the past 3 years, so we feel very comfortable with what we're doing. Yeah. You see other media kind of trying to figure it out. We were lucky in that we locked stories on our website about 8 or 9 years ago, which others have not, and really kind of done that across the country. So it's not a surprise to our readers. You need to subscribe to see our content. Yeah. Other media has been a little slower to that. Now, in terms of Milwaukee, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Journal-Sentinel. I mean, I work there. To me, we have to have a strong the paper. I mean, it's important to the community. So I've been sad to see what's happened there over the years. Now I think long term they'll be fine and they'll figure it out. Right. And there's great reporters who work there. There's people I admire. There's people I work with. So, but I mean, it's important that they're strong, and I think they will be over time. I think you look at the other media, it's kind of hit and miss, but important. We work really closely with 4 and then I'm radio partner. Okay. And love the partnerships. There's really more partnerships now. Yeah. And our 40 under 40 winners are actually on Channel 4 all week. Right. So it's another great way to get the word out there. I think there's more of that as all of us have tried to figure out our role. Yeah. But I think it's a competitive market, but yet it's a great market to work in. I think everyone kind of likes each other, I think, and kind of works together sometimes. Yeah. A creative collaboration. Right. But it's important. A creativity and a spirit that's there that, hey, you got to rise all boats along the way. I mean, again, it's important for me. Everyone asks me all the time about Journal-Sentinel. It's important for me because it makes my staff work harder. I want the Journal-Sentinel to succeed. I want them to be very successful because it helps us as a paper. Yeah, for sure. And I think it helps the community. You have to have a strong newspaper. Every city should. Yeah. So you get up in the morning, what's your daily routine as editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal? Like, what is your, are you constantly scrolling feeds or how do you consume news? Yeah, I'm on Twitter right away in the morning, looking at Twitter, looking at Facebook, looking at Instagram, looking at my email. I read the Wall Street Journal every day. I look at Journal-Sentinel every day. Obviously, our website, we're getting our morning emails ready to go. I'm going through things there. To me, there's so much news out there. It's so interesting to watch. And, I'm a big fan of Twitter. I think it's awesome. The thing I warn people about is that, I know this is going to be hard for everyone to believe, but not everything you read on Twitter is true. I know that's hard for people to believe. That's why I think it's more important, or it's so important for all of us who kind of consume news to know what you're reading. And to know who has an agenda and know who's just laying out the facts. Right. And that's so important nowadays because there's a lot of animosity, there's a lot of stuff going on, which I try to stay out of. Yeah. But to me, there's great things on Twitter. It's a fantastic medium. Yeah. But you need to have your eyes open. Very much. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Get your information from trusted sources. Exactly. If the Wall Street Journal tells you that, or if the New York Times tells you that, or if we tell you that, we're checking with other sources. We're not just running something on a rumor or something that's just heard out there. Right, without a doubt. So I want to talk a little bit about Milwaukee and development. And, the Hop's all about moving Milwaukee forward. I always like to ask, if you had your kind of magic Milwaukee wand, that'd be fun. You had one wish for Milwaukee moving forward, what would that be, Mark? I'd like to see something at 4th and Wisconsin, right across the convention center. It's years and years ago, I'm sure you remember, there was talk of a Sheraton there. Right. Years after that, there was talk of an end zone there with a hotel.
Right.
You know, and then about 6 years ago, they were talking about a 20-story hotel there from the Marcuses and others. You know, to me, that is a site that should develop. And I think it will now because of what's going on around it with the convention center, with the MSO, with the Kohl's store, with the Pfizer. That to me is a great site. So I'd like to see something happen there. The other thing is that site on the lakefront, the one kind of the large open area where the freeway kind of moved around, they get a headquarters site there, which they've talked about, you know, 25 stories or higher, would be tremendous for the city. Those two sites to me, and then I'd like to see more north of the arena. And that's kind of the next hot area. And we've seen it. You know, we've obviously seen what's going on with Thrive-On. Tremendous project. But to see something happen at the Ace Hardware, which is right across on 4th and McKinley. I mean, see that. And then to see more housing as you move up into Bronzeville and into Brewers Hill, to me is kind of the next hot area. But I mean, if I was going to say two, I'd say 4th in Wisconsin and the lakefront.
Okay, very good. I like it. So from Milwaukee Business Journal is part of American City Business Journals.
Correct.
Papers and media publications across the country. Are there things in other markets that you see and you're like, oh, wow, I would love to see that in Milwaukee, or I'm really envious of that and we should do that here?
Well, it's probably something that I'm sure all of you guys are going to love, and that's more transit. I mean, when I travel to other cities of ours, it's so much easier to get from the airport and not have to take a taxi, not have to take an Uber. You know, you can take a train, you can take a subway, you can do something like that. To me, you know, I mean, a lot of cities like that are really cool, and they're just kind of really moving around. It's great here, and I mean, it's kind of funny. I was doing a lot of stories, a lot of interviews recently about the airport because of all things that happen with Southwest. And the thing you hear about an airport all the time is how easy it is, how you can. I mean, and this actually happened to me where I went up and I parked on the 3rd floor, walked in. So from my house through security and the gate was like 20 minutes. That's good and bad. That's good because it's accessible. That's bad because you want to see more traffic there. So we need more tourism. We need more kind of really trying to draw people. I mean, I love the mayor's thing now about having 1 million people here. That's a great goal. But to get that, you have to have things like transit. And I think our transit system and all the fights we always have is just foolish. We need to have an improved transit system.
And it needs to be, you know, truly collaborative. To your point on Metro Milwaukee and Greater Milwaukee, it's not just about downtown. You know, downtown is connected to Foxborough. It's connected to the north side and south side.
I mean, I think the high-speed bus thing is great. Because you can get from, you know, 1st in Wisconsin, 3rd in Wisconsin, all the way out to the medical college. I mean, how important is that going to be? I mean, that to me, again, connecting Wawacha is going north, up to Glendale and to Brown Deer, going south to Franklin, to Oak Creek, to where you have NML, where you have IKEA. Kind of connecting those things, you know, is really important to the city. And it's, you know, everyone talks here about how easy it is to drive because of traffic, again, which is good, but you can't just rely on cars.
Very much so. All right, I want to do a couple kind of quick fire business topics for you. You're an expert. You have a wonderful analysis.
So-called expert.
So, Harley-Davidson. What's the future of Harley-Davidson? Not only in Milwaukee, obviously a worldwide brand, but you know, you guys had the announcement of their anniversary celebration coming this summer.
Their headquarters, which is going to happen with the park. You know, Harley's a fascinating one for me because it's over the years, ups, downs. You know, I think long term they have a lot of hard challenges ahead of them. They got to figure out who the next rider is. And you saw the story recently about the CEO talking about they want to go all electric. Now he's not talking about next week or next month. He's talking 20 years down the line. But that's a big step to get to. In the meantime, he's got to expand his ridership. I mean, as his riders gotten older, it's harder to sell them bikes because they just don't need them. And the younger individuals are not just into as much. So it's trying to get into more areas, more countries, kind of more, you know, whether it's women, more Hispanic, more African Americans, really try to spread the pie. So Harley has a hard challenge. I think it has loyalty like is unbelievable. People, I mean, I've traveled to Europe, and everywhere you go, everyone asks you about Harley. I mean, it's known throughout the world. There's no doubt. But how do you expand that pie? How do you get more customers?
Okay. Molson Coors and Miller in Milwaukee.
That's fascinating to me. What they're doing, how they've changed as a company to an alcohol company, not beer. They still have a large. I actually think what gets lost here is they still have like 1,200 employees working at that brewery. I mean, there's a lot of people who still work here. It's a big part of the community. The thing with the arena, with the beer, was a big loss, but I get it. Anheuser-Busch really wanted that contract. So I think long term they're good. It's figuring out who they are too. I mean, trying to become an alcohol company and not beer. and there's so much competition. Think of all the microbreweries in town. All the beer that you drink, I'm sure that's not from Miller, because there's so many options right now.
Yeah.
So I think they have a hard future. I think they'll be fine. They just got to kind of expand their brands as they are.
Yeah, very good. About you talked a little bit about the Bucks, the future of the Deer District and the Milwaukee Bucks, and just development on the north side of downtown.
That's cool to watch. I know you've been around this community long enough to remember that lot in that area prior to the new arena.
Yeah.
And I always talk about the restaurant that was in the parking structure there on Highland and how many times it turned over.
Right.
Remember, like every year it would turn over.
Yeah.
Now look at that area. No, I mean, is 100% successful? No, there's issues and things that we're going to, but it's so much better. It's active all the time. And if you're down there and they're not even playing in the arena, sometimes it's busy.
Yeah.
So to me, that's worked well. I think the next steps are adding for the music venue, very important.
Yeah.
Adding another hotel. They're obviously going to open a hotel this
Great
April.
hotel.
Adding another hotel they're talking about doing. Office. To me, that's the thing that's lacking there, is a corporate office, which they tried to get with but has not worked out. And then to do more kind of residential, which they've talked about on the river. I mean, but then think about what it was. I'm going to look bad. I'm going to look back to the time when it was all open there, and you had the chocolate smell in the area. Remember, in terms of ambrosia.
Ambrosia chocolate,
But so it's come far, and when you go to other cities, you see it now happening there too. In terms around sports arenas, how important it is. You go up to Green Bay and you see what's happened up there. Mm-hmm. To me, it's vital to us, but it's got to go north too. Yeah. Kind of talked about. We got to get that Ace Hardware. You have to have things happen north. Because the one complaint I hear often from some of our regions, others, it's not always just about the main part of the city. They got to have access to the neighborhoods, and that north side really needs more kind of office, more kind of more residential and more retail.
Yeah, and along those same lines, Fiserv obviously a huge investment in the naming rights for the arena, and now we're moving employees downtown to Wisconsin Avenue.
800 employees right in Wisconsin. I talk a lot about West Wisconsin Avenue and kind of that one, and I remember an event about 6 years ago. We had a round table, and we had CEOs and others, and Omar Sheck, who I know these days, talked about kind of going west of the river as, I mean, after 6 o'clock is kind of no one there. There was no one there, and now look at it. And I think the MSO was kind of really drove that, and what's happened at the Avenue in terms of Omar and Josh, kind of what they've done. Right. But now when you add in the convention center, you add in the Kohl's store, and add in Fiserv, that area is hot. You add in the Iron, kind of what's going to happen at the Iron thing with a soccer stadium and a hotel and thing there. That's huge. Right. That now, I mean, at some point soon, and this is going to also kind of really make me look old, but you're going to connect kind of west of the river all the way through Marquette, back to the Avenue. Remember the days when they were going to close that street, kind of Avenue Commons, and how awful kind of that got to be? Yeah. I mean, right now it's going to happen. Yeah.
Now you can really tie Marquette University to West Town, to East Town, to the Iron District, to Fiserv, and it all works together.
I mean, it does, and that really wasn't going to happen, probably 6 years ago.
Yep. And you kind of create more centers of gravity, and one of those will be the Kohl's department store.
No doubt.
Because bringing kind of big retail back to downtown. Yes, retail has changed a whole lot, but it's significant when a company like that invests in its own community.
Energy. I mean, I talk all the time. Every time I've interviewed, I talk about energy and activity. How does that helps in so many ways? It helps in terms of retail sales, but also helps in terms of safety, in terms of access. Others want to hang out with others, right? So what's going on at the Avenue with the food hall is a great example of the energy. Because you see, I mean, you go in there on the weekends, it's packed, and there people just want to hang out with others, right? Yeah. So that's been Omar and Josh have done a tremendous job. But you add in the Kohl's store, then you add in the convention center and MSO, and all of a sudden you have all this activity. And anybody who had concerns before about safety, which is a concern, it's easier to work on because you have obviously it's not as large a concern when there's energy and activity around.
Yeah, very much so. All right, very good. I'm going to transition a little bit to the People Magazine portion of the Hopcast. All right.
Okay.
We'll get to know you.
Oh no, we're going to talk about somebody fun. We're not going to talk about the Kardashians or anything, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right, good.
No. So I always like to ask, what book are you reading right now? You have so much news and media in your world.
I try not to read about news. So I'm a John Grisham fan. Love John Grisham.
Nice.
So I'm reading his latest book, which I just got for Christmas. I read all of his books.
Okay.
Love John Grisham. I love kind of the law firm murder mystery. He's just such a fantastic writer.
Nice.
Love it.
Good. Like it. All right. So if you have someone coming to downtown or coming to Milwaukee for the first time, what's your insider tip?
It's eat at our restaurants. Great restaurants. Try the food hall. Just get out and enjoy the city. There's so much to do here. The thing, and it's easy. I mean, if you're coming downtown and you're staying whether it's at the Pfister, whether I at Hotel Metro, at the Arts, so it's easy to walk to places. But I think we have an underrated kind of restaurant scene. There's great restaurants in Milwaukee. There really are.
So do you have a favorite, or is that hard to pick?
Well, I mean, I do. I mean, kind of probably my number one is Omar and Carnivore. Love that, but you can't eat there every night,
right?
Because then I need like 3 more jobs. So I'm a big fan of the Mace Street Grill. Love that. I think that's really well done. We kind of try to eat around downtown. I love the Nick.
Yeah.
The Nick's a great place for us to go. And then for a brunch, the place I love to go is the Plaza Hotel for brunch.
Ah, yes.
Over on Kass Street, which is a great street, by the way. But
it's
the
wrong spelling on that street. Yes.
I never knew about that place until I actually moved to downtown, and I went there, and the brunch is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Fantastic.
Kind of old school diner,
old
the
school
Plaza
diner.
Scrambler. I'm a big fan.
Hash
Big
browns,
fan.
great hash browns.
It's great. It's great. So you and your wife have a favorite TV show that you watch?
I watch West Wing. I'm still watching West Wing reruns.
Okay, that's good.
I get laughed at home all the time because I'm watching West Wing reruns. But but to me, there's not a show that I can remember that is well written as West Wing. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're on the left side of the Democrat. The written is tremendous. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of all the Chicago shows, whether it's the police show, the hospital and the fire. I love those shows. I'm a crime kind of person, kind of Law and Order type of thing. But West Wing.
Good conversation. You always feel like you learned something with West Wing.
I've watched those shows 20 times, and I miss words that were said because the writing was so tremendous.
I wonder if Aaron Sorkin has another series in him.
You got to
think that he's
got to do a reboot.
More.
He's got to do a reboot of West Wing. That'd be good.
I like Sports Night. It only ran for 2 seasons.
Newsroom was another great show.
Newsroom was very good.
Newsroom was a great show.
Yeah, Newsroom was great.
Love that.
I'd love another show like that from him. So, talk about news a little bit. What's your best professional moment? Like, do you have a moment or a story through your storied career that you're like, wow?
There's probably been a few over the years. I've gotten to cover presidents. I've gotten to do a lot of great things. I think when we broke the Bucks story, which I was talking about earlier, and we were the first to report who the new owners were, that got us on ESPN. It got us national coverage. We're the first report on that. We're the first report on Herb Kohl's $100 million into the project. We actually broke those stories. To me, in terms of impact on the city, I was proud of our newsroom. I was proud of our paper. I'm proud all the time in terms of what we did. But to me, that having national people call me was kind of a really kind of great thing. Yeah. It's cool. And it was happenstance because we were located in Herb's building. It helped.
Right.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just got to get lucky.
That's right. That is true.
Lucky is good.
Yeah. So do you have a reporter, a journalist that you really look up to and...
I was thinking about that question. In terms of locally, I would think it's, I do a lot of work at Ford. I do a lot of work with Charles Benson. Okay. I love Charles Benson.
Yeah.
He's been in this community a long time. The thing I really respect about him is that when somebody comes to town, whether it's Trump, whether it's Joe Biden, they always meet with Charles. They always sit down with Charles. Yeah. But the other thing people don't know about Charles is that because we're partners, he probably calls me once a week or once every couple of weeks, and he just asks me questions. He's not interviewing me, but he wants to know what's going on in Milwaukee. Yeah. So to me, that's a sign of a great journalist.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Being curious and asking questions. That
outside, I'm not his competitor, but in a sense, I don't work with them, so it's. I just think that's a great trait.
Yeah. So your favorite city, other than Milwaukee?
Other than Milwaukee, well, Denver. Love Denver. Great city, great transit system there. We're big fans of Orlando. We travel down there probably every year to go to kind of Disney and things like that. We just spent a week and a half in Ireland. Okay. There's some tremendous cities in Ireland. We really had a great time. We were there with the Wisconsin Club. Okay. Actually, had a tremendous. So there's some pretty cool cities in Ireland. But in terms of the states, I love. Denver, and then I would say my third one's probably Chicago. Okay. I just love going down to Chicago. Okay. So easy from here.
Yeah, very much so. Yep, without a doubt. Chicago, Milwaukee, it's kind of one big city, right?
Yeah, it's a big city. There's a little competition there.
There's a little, which makes it good. So you talked a little bit about your media habits, but do you have a favorite business publication other than the Business Journal?
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal's
I love their style of reporting. I love their style of writing.
Yeah.
They write stories in a great way. So to me, it is the. If you're in our industry, you should be reading them every day. Yeah,
and they've really diversified into sports and leisure and lifestyle something in a good way.
Something you wouldn't have read there before now, but it's the writing. They have great writers.
Yeah, very good. Are you Milwaukee custard guy?
I am.
You have a favorite
Kass.
flavor and
Probably-
place?
I was thinking about this. Probably cherry amaretto cheesecake.
Okay.
At
All right.
Kass.
Nice. All
Love
right.
Kass. Then again, I do love Leon's. There's nothing wrong with Leon's.
That's
Leon's
right.
is fantastic.
Okay.
But
All right.
Kass is still kind of Carl and what he's done has been tremendous.
Okay. Very good. All right. So I'm sure you have people come to you all the time, young reporters, people looking to get into the news business. What's your advice for someone looking to crack into the media?
I've been saying this for years, and I say that every year. Every year, I talk to classes, internships. Get an internship. You can learn our business in a classroom, but it's not going to show you how to do the job.
Yeah.
Internships are the way to go. When I was in college, I had two or three internships, and I got to cover, horrible crimes, but there's no way to learn how to cover something until you're on the ground. So internships are so important, and they get you hired. Over the years, I've hired 3 or 4 of our former interns, or I've referred them to others in the industry I know. To get jobs. It gets, I say often, it's not sometimes what you know, it's who you know, and that really helps. And internships, actual work in the field is so important.
Yeah.
And this is a good, everyone kind of critiques our industry as this is a tough industry to get into. Why would you go into it?
Right.
If you find the right place, you find a niche publication like ours, I have reporters who don't work nights for the most part, who don't work weekends, who work the normal day hours, I think they get paid well, and are in a great industry. This is a fun industry to be in. It's, but is it growing like crazy? No, but it's also, over the years it has constricted, but I'd argue the ones who are really doing it well,
right,
are going to survive long term. We need newspapers. We need media, right? Yeah. Our country can't survive without it.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways to create content now for any media
oh my
entity.
God. It's just, it's just like so much easier. But just experience is so important.
Yeah. Okay. Got a couple final questions. I want to get you to work on time. We're getting closer to your stop. So, who's your hero, Mark?
Yeah, I thought about that one, and probably a couple people. One is just watching my father work over the years. I learned hard work from my dad. He owned his own business. Started in 1956. Okay. Worked way too much, but worked a lot, and just to see him grow was really important. So, from a personal standpoint, to me, he's somebody I always try to model myself after in terms of my work ethic. Somebody else I've watched over the years, and kind of maybe an odd answer, but somebody like Donald Driver, and somebody who I know personally, but somebody who was fantastic on the football field, but has transitioned into a career off the field that's almost as good, and has made himself an executive of he runs gyms, does sponsorship, and 8 or 9 years after he left the field, he's as more and well known as he was on the field.
Very much.
And that's rare nowadays. So to me, watching that transition has been cool. So if I had to say one in terms of kind of my thing, I would say my dad, but then watching him has been very cool too.
Wonderful answers. My dad worked most of his career at Goodwill Industries. Okay. Obviously, Donald Driver has dove in and really heightened the cause of Goodwill. And he's been
also
an ambassador.
An athlete that I've been able to hang out with a little bit. He's nice to everybody. Yeah. He's one of the few athletes that I know who gets the only reason he's well off and has had a great career and family is as well as the fans.
Yeah. He's got the right haircut, too.
He does.
Which is good.
And I'm getting closer.
That's right. Come on, join the club.
Join the club. Not yet.
All right, okay. And then my final destination question, again, as we get closer to your stop and get you to work at time at the Business Journal. Define success, Mark.
Well, success is really what you make of it. To me, success is happiness at home, happiness to family, which we have a great family, very, very happy. And at work, to me, success is to be known in the community and to really kind of be respected. And I think we're kind of achieving that. You're always trying to grow that. But success is not always about how much money you make and how many stories you break, but it's also about respect. Do people read us every week because of the respect that really they have for us? So to me, we're always growing that, but I think we've gotten that, but it can always get better. Yeah, very good. All right. Well, I always look forward to my Business Journal emails in the morning and even the paper being delivered every week. It's a part of my life. One fact I'll point out, because I love to say this to people, is that because people think it's all about the web. And it is, but our average reader still spends 39 minutes a week reading our paper, page by page. So to me, that shows you print isn't dead. Exactly. It has to be both. You got to do, print and web.
Right.
But print is not dead. And
Diversity of content sources, and here we are at work, without a doubt. So,
Without a doubt.
thanks for hopping on the Hopcast. I appreciate it.
Always good to be here. Thank you, and let's expand.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. The Hopcast on YouTube and all the social channels for the Milwaukee Streetcar. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.